The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed on the Canna Connect Show belong solely to the individuals and do not reflect those of Canna Connect and its affiliates, sponsors, or partners. Canna Connect does not promote or facilitate any activity that violates state or federal regulations. Everything you hear here is strictly for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not legal advice, it is not financial guidance, and it's definitely not medical direction. Seriously, don't take our word for it. Even if someone on the mic sounds like they know what they're talking about, and they're probably crazy smart too. Regardless of how legit our guests may be, you should always do your own homework, consult with your attorney, and understand the risk you're taking before you do anything when it comes to cannabis. Our intention is to keep it real. If you've got a problem with anything we've said, take us to court.
Welcome back to the Canna Connect Show. I'm your co-host, Natalie, and today I'm super excited because I am here with the incredible Cat 7. I cannot wait to introduce you to her. Here she is. Cat. Hey, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you. It's only been not even 12 hours.
Yeah. How was last night for you?
It was amazing. You guys really did a good job. Like, the panel was amazing, informative, good vibe, good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you gave some really great advice on operations and all of that. So we will get into that at some point. But first,
Remember what I said? Because I don't.
I have clips of it. I could go back in my phone. I have it. All right. I have some good clips on
I
it.
turn my brain off and just think, like, when I'm in the moment of actually being an operator,
Yeah.
and I go off of experience.
Oh,
So, like, a lot of people that do panels go off of what they've learned or have read, or as a sales rep, they're salespeople. I just kind of close my head and say, okay, how did I do this in an operational standpoint?
yeah.
And I actually speak off of experience versus pulling shit out of my ass.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's back up a little bit because I know about you and what you do, but why don't we tell the audience a little bit about Cat and, how maybe you got here today. We don't have to go super in depth, but
Okay.
just a little background about what you do,
Well, I'm Cat Franklin, Cat 7. I don't even know where to start. I've been in this industry for a very long time. I would consider myself in the Canna closet for most of it. I was born and raised here in Minnesota.
Nice.
And in 1994, I went to Seattle, Washington, and lived in the dot-com rise, hustle and bustle, taking the corridor by 5, back and forth. Went to California when that kind of got dry. Went to California, and then once I started having kids, moved back here. In the meantime of doing all that, I grew up in a traditional family.
Yeah.
Dad was in the military. Mom ran the house. Brother introduced me to a baggie at a very young age and said, can you bring this to the football players? Or can you deliver that? So that was kind of like my first hustle.
Sure.
Used to have to inject grapes with like Everclear.
Ooh,
And that was like $10 at the parties for my brother. So
I love
get
that.
50 cents.
That's a solid side hustle.
Mhm. And then when I got to Seattle and I got to see like the big lights and run my own hustle, I always had a front of like kind of what I did. I always worked in things that were something that your mom and parents would never want you to do. So actually prior to cannabis operations, I was the director of marketing and sales for the IEG,
Oh,
which was the company that stole the Pam and Tommy video. So there's a lot of history and a lot of book writing in my life.
wow. That's a callback. Pam and Tommy, right?
Yes. So like I think that was kind of like my taste of like I was 21 years old, and that was a lot of fun. And then I went to after all that I went to California, met really good friend.
Yeah.
He was a cultivator, legacy guy, and we started doing some hustling together.
Sure.
And he decided that we created a great strain.
Yeah.
Became really big, and I come from marketing and operations as well as hustling, so I took my business standpoint and said, how can we make this something different?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I came from in a nutshell, without getting myself in trouble, without my attorney present.
All right, let's go back. You mentioned your strain.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, she is Godmother.
I call myself the Godmother.
The Godmother of Gorilla Glue 4. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
And that experience for you, along with your partner Josie at the time.
Josie was done, And then there was Lon Waddy, who was Ross as well.
Got it.
2 outlaws, great guys, my best friends ever. Got lucky.
Yeah.
It was a happy accident.
Really?
Absolutely. Everybody thinks, and there's a flip to that. So everyone's like, oh, it was an accident. It was a herm. It's not yours. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, my husband hates when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyways, because it makes sense that my children's were accidents. But I get to claim them.
Yeah,
I still get tax return on them, but it's mine. And that's the same thing kind of with Gigi. So Josie was getting himself in a little bit of trouble. He had some plants, maybe overcount, because back then we were in medical in Las Vegas.
Oh, sure.
And you could have so many plants in medical. So he got in trouble the night before, and he knew the cops were coming. So we had to move some plants around, put him over to a friend's house, Mardog. Mardog kept the plants. Once they could come back to Josie's place after he cleared his name, they brought him back, and they were hermed.
Oh.
So, of course, at that time, we didn't want those plants.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you make your money. No, you don't make money off seeds, you make money off flowers. So, kind of threw them away, gave us Mardog. Mardog put them aside, held on to them for a few years. Didn't have anything to pop those guys, for their hustle. Decided to pop them, and had 8 or 7 seeds at that time.
Sure.
There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 is still here. 4 is obviously the claim to fame. The 3 was the runt. That was Michigan. Never came back, kind of faded away. And in that stoner moment where Josie and I were crossed 1 and 4, we made the 5. Technically that's kind of like just a back cross. But back then we thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The 5. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it was born.
I love that.
But the neat thing is it was something different with her, and it was a parody name. Like back then, everything was named off of a flavor, a smell,
Sure.
something that we already knew.
Yeah.
Candies or whatever. Everything that's against the law now. But Josie had back then we had a flip phone.
Amazing.
Yeah. Dial up, just a flip. We're still in technology days. And he got a phone, and his hand got stuck.
Oh.
And he was like, oh shit, this is sticky like Gorilla Glue. And there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Just
so it was a complete parody. It was that's just how it got its name. It was the 4th seed in the solo cup.
Yeah.
So Gorilla Glue 4 it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You mentioned you were in the medical market, and now you've moved to adult use.
Correct.
What can you say? All right. What separates strong operations from the struggling ones that you've seen?
Well, I started so it's with Gorilla Glue or Gigi Strains. So the 3 of us created a company called Gigi Strains.
Yeah.
And the reason we created this company was medical was around in
Sure.
Oregon, Washington, California, and Vegas. So people are like, and it just kind of went around, and people were like, oh my God, this is a great strain. So you go to dispensary, there it was, and it really wasn't. And people realized for PTSD and a couple other things, Gorilla Glue 4 was very potent, and it really helped, especially with PTSD. And so when we'd go around, or people, we meet people on the streets or whatever, they were like, oh my gosh, try my Gigi. And we'd smell it and we're like, yeah, that's not it. Or, you smoke, and you're like, yeah, that's not it. So at that moment, we were like, well, that's not fair. If somebody really wants medical marijuana and they're going to a dispensary because they have PTSD or anxiety or they're doing whatever, we wanted to make sure that they had certified genetics.
Sure.
So in 2015-ish, we said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to certify our genetics. We couldn't trademark them because it's not federally legal, and we wanted it to go into the medical market. We were very fortunate and lucky that a company by the name of Fat Panda picked us up.
Okay.
And they were out of Washington, the number 1 out there, number 1 MSO. They're great. Still to this day, they're amazing. And they started paying us royalties. So I actually got to see the medical market go into adult use.
Wow.
And the pricing and how much people made in 2015, 2016, all the way up to where it was.
Sure.
And that was kind of my position, was kind of be the cute little front girl that was an at-home mom that, played clean and never did anything wrong. And I was the cultivator liaison. So all the different states in medical, and then started to transfer into adult use. I was the cultivator liaison, and I would work with all the cultivators, operators, medical or adult use, and how to certify our genetics and how to get true genetics and cultivate them to the best ability. So then the consumer always had the best product. That's a really long answer to your cute little short question, but that means I've seen it a lot. And the difference between what we saw in medical and a lot of people in what I reason medical came across is because we wanted a reason to be able to smoke weed legally.
Sure.
Is there medical purposes behind cannabis? Abso-freaking-lutely. But one of the reasons, the stepping stone to get into medical was so then we could show normalization, show that the plant's not going to kill you, all these different things. And once we could longevity that, we could go into adult use. So the doctor was in, you went and got yourself, your medical card so you could legally drive around and not have the popo lock you up.
Exactly.
So that medical market was fun.
Oh,
it was a great time. It reminded me of back when I worked at IEG and we used to sell Viagra online.
yeah.
The doctor was in, right? You just get your online prescription and there you go. Same thing. You get your online prescription, you can walk yourself in a dispensary and you can start smoking legally. And now it's turned very commercial.
Yeah.
Some of us legacy folks don't care for it. They don't care for commercial weed. But what I've seen, especially in the last 3 years with the Minnesota market,
Sure.
is it's normalized. And that is something to me that we've always needed.
100%.
And I love that about this. I love that Minnesota market flourished with all these drinks and the low dose gummies because the at-home mom was able to put away the wine and be able to consume and not be like, oh my God, you're a pothead or.
Right?
Right.
It took away a lot of the stigma. I mean, you said you were in the Canna closet. I've been in the Canna closet, and especially as a parent.
That we're moms.
Yeah, and using cannabis, it's immediately like, oh, she's a shit mom, apparently.
Right.
Because she does that. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's a really great alternative to alcohol. And, I'm able to be more present with my kids and, it takes the edge off. So I'm not, anxious or angry or anything like that.
And I can't remember what state it was, but they did a billboard to legalize it.
Sure.
And it was a family with drinking, and the dad was like yelling at the child. And then it was a family smoking weed, and they were all sitting around the table playing board games. They were laughing. And that right there is a statement.
Exactly.
And it passed into adult use, from medical into adult use. And that is exactly what this plant can do.
Exactly.
I mean, addiction is going to run in anybody that has addictive personality. So saying that, it's addictable, guess what? So is sex. So is shopping.
Everything.
So is gambling. Exactly. That's
all in moderation,
Yeah. But being in the Canna closet is something that I've always had to do, especially being back in Minnesota.
Sure.
Nobody had a clue that Gorilla Glue or GG4, was being run out of my basement. Obviously the guys lived in Vegas. I was here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
When we got sued by the Gorilla Glue adhesive company, it was because of my basement.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they ordered a t-shirt online from our website and I shipped it and I actually, my family lives in Ohio and that's where the Gorilla Glue adhesive company is. And so when I got the order for the t-shirt, I assumed it was my niece, thinking, look at what cool thing my auntie does.
Yeah.
And so I sent it with pride with a little note, and I sent it. And then all of a sudden we got hit with a call and warning that we were going to get hit with a federal trademark lawsuit crossing state lines.
Oh my gosh.
And we're like, how the heck? We've never crossed state lines.
Yeah.
Everybody we lease our genetics to is in a legal, medical, or adult use state. Like, what are you talking about? And then we got the subpoena, and it was because of that t-shirt, because it said Gorilla Glue 4. And I shipped it from Mankato, Minnesota to Ohio, and that crossed state lines. So it became a federal trademark cannabis lawsuit.
So what happened after that?
That was fun.
Yeah,
it was a few years of. We were the first people to ever have a cannabis lawsuit.
Wow.
We wanted to fight it.
Yeah.
And we went into it wanting to fight it until they started asking questions, and we realized that this case could be a little bit bigger when they said so. Gorilla Glue 4 won San Bernardino in 2014. Yeah, it won 2015 in Detroit, Michigan. And then it won Jamaica High Times Cup. And I was like, ooh, we're crossing more states.
Yeah, you're like, oh, those are a few more borders than I originally.
At that moment, we decided I will call it from original glue. So we kind of just said, we'll settle whatever you want. And it was so new.
Yeah.
It was 2006 when we first got sued, and we settled by 2017.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it wasn't
It was
horribly long.
right. But, it's Gorilla Glue Adhesive Company, which is a Glamorous, and they have got unlimited pockets.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 breeders and a cat.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody in this industry thinks, oh, the breeders are making money. No,
No.
we don't make anything. We're just the ones that pop some seeds, find some phenos, keep the clone alive for generations and generations. And if we're lucky, we get a shout out on Instagram now. But that's
Yeah. I was going to say, because that kind of brings me, you like to say happy plants equals happy life.
Yeah.
What does that philosophy look like in practice?
With my plants.
Yeah, with your plants. Yeah, your girl.
Well, I mean,
talking about
walk
my girls.
to your room with my 4 plants here in Minnesota. When they're happy, you have children.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the same thing. When you see your children flourish,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And when you walk into your room and your girls are the wind's blowing in their hair and they're doing that, their thing, and the sun's shining on them, it's you're doing something right.
Right.
Because this plant feeds off of energy.
It does.
And so when they're happy, you're in synergy with what's supposed to be going on. Life is fast, and the moment I put my guard down and I'm not attentive to them, they will let me know. And I get random, I'm not an expert. I am in any way, shape, or form. I'm always learning. We're always evolving.
Exactly.
Every time I'm in that grow, I'm learning something new, or I screw up, or I'll prune wrong. And I'm like, "Oh, I know, I've been doing this how long? But I still do it wrong." Or somebody I was just with at a grow the other day, helping them out with some things. And I noticed something on their plant, and I was like, that's a fungus. And they were like, we were wondering. And I'm like, and I didn't want them to feel bad. Because I said,
Yeah.
But I said, I know this. I just had this 4 months ago, and I had no idea what that was. I assumed it was low CalMag, because there are things, CalMag. And they were like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know. And it actually ruined 4 of my plants. So I was able to tell them like how to overcome it.
Yeah.
But one of the things cultivators, or even anybody in this industry, never admits those things.
No, they're too proud.
They're too proud. And you always have to be humbled, and you always have to be
100.
like, what is she teaching me? What is she trying to tell me? And I'm never going to be an expert. I'm always going to be learning. And this industry, like going from adult or medical to adult use, it's always evolving.
It is.
So the moment somebody puts the word expert on the end of their title, they're not, because tomorrow the rules are going to change. Everything's going to change. So leave your ego at the door and let the plant have the ego.
I agree.
So happy girls are a happy life. Also, in a monetary standpoint, sure, happy girls is a happy pocket.
I mean, yes. Yes, at the end of the day.
And everybody always says, I'm not in it for money. And then I think that's a scapegoat, because we have children to feed.
Exactly.
We have things to do,
But I feel like we still respect the plant,
Right.
and we still honor the plant.
Absolutely.
Which is the important part of it,
Right.
instead of just always thinking about money and what's next.
Right. What's next? Yes, the THC word.
The THC word. I look up to you as a woman in this industry, and I just want to hear more about your experience in really making a name for yourself in this industry. Because, I mean, when I go to events, they're like, cat's here. And obviously that wasn't just done overnight. Oh, are you kidding me? Like, when people are like, cat's gonna be at one, they're always like, oh, do you remember when she was at this and she talked about this? Yes, you are. You know, that respect.
To me, I'm still in the canna closet.
Sure.
To me, I'm still a mom. My children had no idea in the beginning. Like, I was literally an at-home mom that owned a marketing firm.
Yeah.
So I don't know that person
Yeah.
at all. Like, I hear about her,
Sure.
but she's really not me. I have two sides of me. And I'm glad that people say that, because I'm glad that I'm influencing them in a positive light,
Yeah.
because that's what I want. But being a woman in this industry is extremely hard.
Yeah.
When you say making a name for myself, every day I still struggle to do that. There was a really great, amazing post that was just put on Instagram.
Sure.
And it was a collab with myself, the history of Gorilla Glue 4, etc., original glue. And I knew he was going to tag me in it. And I get so nervous,
Sure.
because I don't know what people are going to say.
Exactly.
I've been told my place is in the kitchen, not in the grow. I have been, the legacy should have been left in my lap. It's not worth for me. It should go to somebody else. Um, I've been told a lot of different things, and the guys, I miss them. Both my business partners now are passed on, and they were my safety net.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, I was just the cultivator liaison, this little girl behind them, and if somebody came after us, I had them.
Exactly. You're like
And
bodyguards.
now I don't have that, and so I really had to find a way to close off that noise
Sure.
and realize that I have done a lot of work, and I haven't monetized like I could on this legacy that's been dropped in my lap.
Exactly.
And I've just kept these plants alive to figure out what's the next step for them. And that's challenge on itself right there. And it's just every day it's hard being a woman. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's a man's world. Like this last MJ Biz, I've been at every single MJ Biz since it started. And this last one, I was with a gal by the name of Mary, and she's amazing, Marianne. It's the first time I ever hung out with a woman.
Wow.
Oh my God, I had so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm always with the guys. And then the guys want to go to strip clubs and do all this. And so they don't want Kat to see it. And I'm like, oh, here, so I can't. It's supposed to go back, and put my tail between my legs, no pun intended. And so making a name for myself is difficult. But I also don't want to make a name for myself and be a complete bitch.
Yeah.
I will be hard. I will tell truth.
And that's
But I also want when people walk away from me, they remember me as a positive person and something that they want. And by you saying looking up to, I appreciate that. Like that's my goal. And in someday in my life, I would love to find like Josie and Lone. They took me under their wing.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from them. And they're 15 years older than me. And I'm at my halfway mark. Someday I want somebody underneath me.
Yeah.
And it's hard because in our legacy world, we've always have that. We have these people we bring up, and that's missing.
It is.
We don't have that anymore.
No.
I've tried. I've looked for many people, found people thinking that they're true. They're true to themselves. They're unique, and they're really not. They're about the monetary value or the clout that maybe comes with walking around with me. And back then it was. You looked up to your mentors. You looked up to your elderly. You looked up to these people. And now it's, I'm better than them. I got a 4x4, tent, and I got a half a pound out of it. I'm the man. So it's hard.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. And I thank you for that. But I don't see myself as that person.
No, I get it.
Yeah. But even like I remember when Jay-Z sang, smoking Gorilla Glue like it's legal.
Yeah.
I think that was in 2018. And I've been trying so hard to get my daughter to think I'm cool. And I was hoping that was the moment.
You were like, is that it?
It was not the moment. So we have those moments. Or like just Eminem's last album who dropped. It was a rip. And he was ripping everybody apart.
Oh, yeah.
Phone was blowing up like, oh my gosh, you have a shout out. And I was like, again, instant female worry. What did he say?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy's passing away and this bitch is left, what is it? Because I heard it was on Antichrist, which is his horrible, he's ripping everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And all he said was a shout out to Gorilla Glue. And I bawled. I was, this is exactly what Josie, I, and Lone wanted.
Yeah.
We wanted this girl to be remembered in a positive light. I mean, she's a little bit of a horror. She kind of got out there, but she still puts a smile on people's faces.
Exactly.
Right.
And you can't go wrong with Eminem. My husband and I were a very big Eminem family, so yeah, we're very into it. And my goal is to hopefully someday see him in concert, but he's not a tour person, so I'm guess I'm gonna have to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
Go hang out in Michigan.
Yeah.
Go to that.
Back in the day, I could introduce you to
Yeah. 'Cause you were playing in Michigan, right?
Yep. So after Josie passed away, I knew what we did. And I understood the cultivation side of things, but I really didn't understand the full legal side of operational understanding. What is all this metric thing that people talk about when I call over to the cultivators to see how everything is going? Oh, let me check metric. So I was like, I got to figure this out. So I was very fortunate, and I got connected with an investment group, and they brought me to a couple different operations, and I was considered a fixer-upper. So I would go in there, and I think in the beginning, I assumed it was for my expertise, but I think they were thinking my clout would turn their facilities around. But in return, I didn't do that. I actually turned their facilities around. would go in at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd learn how did they make those gummies? How did they formulate that? What is the pre-roll machine doing? And, I remember one time I was like 3 months into running this operation in Michigan, and the investors called. They said, everything okay? And I said, yeah, everything's great. Why? And I'm like, and they said, you haven't asked for money. And I was like, well, we don't need any money. We're in the positive. And they're like, we've never been in the positive for 3 years. We've been in business. And I was like,
Women.
oh, exactly. It was like, no, we don't need that. Cut the fat. Get rid of this. Why are we paying these people this?
Yeah.
And especially when I speak to people on how to build an operation.
Sure.
And I spoke with this at the last Canna or Canna Connect, sorry, is this plant does not know if you have pip racking or pallet racking. It has no idea.
Yeah.
So why are you spending $500,000 on that versus $20,000?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Unless it's for the pictures. It's for the Instagram posts or the reels or whatever it is. And you're already going into this industry negative.
Yeah.
And that is why we have no money in this industry. People say there's no money in it. It's because you want the Lamborghini before you got the Honda.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I learned. So then from that one, once I kind of got it out of, getting where it needed to be, I went to the next one.
Yeah.
And started learning, and that was vertically integrated. So it were 2 cultivations, manufacturing, processing, and 3 retails. And I was the COO or the CEO. I was considered myself like a COO or CEO to go.
Like a hybrid, yeah.
Right. And they would just kind of put me where they wanted me.
Sure.
And I learned anything and everything inside and out about this industry. And I also there's a lot of theft and, I call them Pinocchios
Oh.
in this industry. And so if I didn't learn how every single thing worked, how would I know if we're not getting ripped off? How do I know something's not going out the back door?
Yeah.
How do I know when I look at my P&L that this is actually what our loss is and it's not somebody that's trying to skim off the top? But I
Yeah.
had to learn every single actual aspect of it. And that's why I always say SOPs are so important.
Yeah.
I really needed to understand what that is, because you could hand it to you and have a worker bee do it. And if you don't really understand what that worker bee is doing, there's so much stuff and faultiness that's going to take place. So I did that for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Michigan, Minnesota did the accidentally legalized low dose. And I was like, okay, finally, can I be home? Because when I traveled, I was here for a week and there for a week.
Oh,
I
wow.
fly out on a Friday night or Sunday night, sorry, and I fly home on Friday.
Yeah.
And so my poor husband was an at-home dad, but he still worked. I mean, he'd go to work at 3:30 in the morning, be home by 2:30 when the kids got off the bus.
Yeah.
And I was doing my thing, and I was like a part-time mom, and he was a full-time dad. But I learned everything that I needed to know to understand what part of this I still love, and it's the plant.
It is the
In the plant. And so when Minnesota got legal, I still was in the canna closet.
Yeah.
I was afraid that people would be like, oh, I didn't know you were here. So I came out with a company called Süga. And that was my intro to Minnesota.
Yeah.
As I didn't want people to know who I was. I didn't want to walk in and have people say, oh, Kat's here, or what is that? In return, they're like, oh, who's that? She's from California. Or, I got a lot of that at the beginning, which is fine. But so then I started Süga and
Yeah.
then I got my own seed labor license. And that was a great day because I've been having, seeds for the decade plus.
Yeah.
And I remember calling one of my great friends, my dear friends that owns Pure Sativa. And I was like, look what I got. It says cannabis seeds on it. And he was like, no way. And, that to me wasn't, I wanted the labor license. I just wanted that piece of paper.
Yeah.
Right. Validation that I'm not going to jail today.
Yeah.
Was
They bring my jail out of me.
Right. Right. So that was, and so I've been here since. I do travel a lot still. When it comes to events, or if somebody's in a pickle, they need an operation consultant. I get on a plane. Poor husband's back to being full-time dad. And I'm not good at running my own business.
I'm sure we don't know our own strengths.
My dream is, that's great, but watching somebody else, it's like what happened with her. Watching her grow up and changing other people's lives in great ways. And, the war on drugs, I can't imagine how many people are actually in prison right now because of original glue. So, there's a negative side to it, but there's also a positive. And taking people's ideas and their dreams, and then they all of a sudden see it on the shelf. Or somebody that was locked up or, was in the Canna closet, and now all of a sudden they have packaging that's, their dream idea that's not from Dime Bay Willie, and it's in a dispensary. And that's really satisfying to me. And I love that. Or, teaching somebody from legacy and how to be legitimate. And that's kind of like I call it my tagline, right?
Yeah.
I'm a legacy to legitimacy.
Love it.
And, how can we do this, still make money off of it, and explain it to them? Because when we have these panels, and that's why I'm a little bit more real,
Yeah.
is 90% of everybody out there is like, what are they talking about? What do they mean? Well, I remember when I was up at OCM once, and like right early on in the beginning, and I was talking about med and AU and tags, and they were just like, what are she talking about? And I'm like, oh, AU is adult use, med is medical, and tags is going to be a metric tag that eventually you're going to learn about.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're talking all this jargon to people that have never had to deal with that jargon.
Yeah.
And so I try to break things down into a layman's term in a positive light.
Yeah.
And so they're not feeling less than going into building their dreams. Because that's horrible. Like, I don't even know what AU means. And now I got to, go borrow money, give my first kidney, do all these things. So really breaking it down for people is, I really love that. Or making it simple, sweet.
Exactly. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Right.
That's always the base of it.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Süga for a little bit, because that's where I met you originally, was at a Canna Connect Expo. I think it was like the first one, but you were there, and I remember you had a very good deal. It was like $20 for like 2 packs, and I was like, sold.
I remember that actually now.
I was like, yep. I'm like, I like sour and the sour watermelon, and then you came out with the drink mixers. Oh,
yes. So, and I love innovation.
Yeah.
That's why I love cannabis, this industry, is we're always evolving and we're always coming up with new ideas. And one of the neat operations I ran in Michigan was considered a co-packer.
Oh.
And so what I had is multiple brands in there. So if you lost a license in Michigan, we're like, come on in, come under our license, we'll help you. But we had everything. We had SIP, which was Calvin Johnson's Primitives business. We had Fuego. That was a lot of fun. We had what was it? Covert cups. We had chill medicated. We had a lot of different brands underneath the umbrella of Noble. And that was just super cool to learn all the different innovations.
Right.
And we always watch. And I remember SIP came out with a powder.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is, we formulated it together. And this gal, Emily, cheers to you, Emily. She's fucking genius. Amazing.
Shout out to Emily.
Yeah, I don't even know where she is. I think she's still with them. I don't know if she's not. Whoever has her now is lucky. And that was great. And, and she was, I love concerts.
That's exactly how you sold me on it, too.
And so you're going with a bag. You have to have your see-through, and you have your gummy bag, and it's like obvious. And we're still in the canning closet. We have our kids probably with us if we're going to Taylor Swift.
Yep.
And we can't be like, oh, look, I'm a ganja mom. So I was like, wouldn't it be neat if I could have like a liquid IV style THC to go? And then I remember what we did in Michigan, and I was like, how can I do this but be Minnesota compliant?
Right.
And that's how I got to know Margaret, and she worked with me on how I can get this done. Because there was somebody prior because I came out with the concept when I first started in here, but I had to shelf stabilize it.
Oh.
So it was actually on so when I shelf stabilize, I put things different places. It's got to be a year. I put it in my car because Minnesota's got 4 seasons.
Yes.
So by the next time a year comes up, did it, withstand the summer, winter, etc. So I had this powder every different place, nook and cranny, everywhere. And so I was like, this other company came out with one.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny because it was kind of a little play off my name too. And they got in trouble because I guess they weren't compliant.
Oh.
So when I came out with my Süga powders, AOCM was like, what are you doing? You've already been in trouble.
Yeah, you're like,
and I was like, oh my gosh, no, I'm totally different. And I showed them my logo, and they're like, oh, why are you coming out with this exact thing we told you to take off the shelf? So I've had it for a while, and I love it, and it's easy and it's convenient. And the shelf stability is super, super simple. And I don't know, I'm not a scientist at all, and I don't have the big words like half these people in this new age cannabis world, but for some reason it gives you the giggles. It brings me back to when I used to get high in high school.
Right? Oh,
Yes. And I don't know if it's somewhere in the process of taking, the distillate into nano into dehydration mode. I don't know, but I love it. I think it's the wave of the future
I
because
love it too.
that's what a lot of people want, the moms. Yeah. Like 90% of sugar is all moms.
I mean, honestly,
Right. Or retired people.
that too. Yeah, because I gave one to my stepmom. Actually, like
Yeah.
one of them, because she was like, I'm just so anxious. And I'm like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, but
I got to give a shout out to Scott really quick
yes,
because he couldn't be here, but I had to bring him with. So,
yes.
yeah.
His stash
Yeah.
stocks.
Scott, this is for you. But with sugar, I love it. Again, I brought it here because I didn't want people to know who I was.
Exactly.
And you just asked me earlier, how is it doing? Like, what's it doing? I don't know what to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to do with it. We can't ship anymore.
Sure.
And that was 90% of my clientele are at-home moms. And every other Friday, I have a group of moms throughout my area that I do my Friday drops.
Oh,
I can no longer do that. So it takes away that feel,
yeah. It's kind of the joy of.
right, of what I've created with Süga. I've created a really great community of normalization.
Exactly.
I've helped a lot of people with anxiety. There's one couple that, I mean, she's off all anxiety meds. I mean, the husband, every time I come, he's like, thank you, thank you. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do. And these are the things that I wish regulation would understand,
That.
because they don't feel comfortable walking into a boutique because their best friend might see them. They don't want to walk into a smoke shop or a dispensary
No.
because their best friend might see them.
Yeah.
So when I drop off my little happy birthday presents every other Friday, they feel confident in it. And they also know it's clean.
Exactly.
And
That's another thing too.
And it's got love behind it. So a lot of that in this last month has come to a halt. And I do have a pending micro. Do I bring that and put that there? I don't know because I still can't deliver it.
Yeah.
I would have to find a retail to deliver it to them,
Sure.
which is somebody they don't know. And then these people are especially retired men and women. They don't want a stranger at their
No, they do not, especially if it's something, for most, still is still taboo and everything. And so the fact of like somebody else knows about my little Canna closet secret.
Right. In my little town that I live just southern Minnesota. I'm a third generation entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so my area knows that about me. Like my grandpa's a bootlegger. It's 2 bits of swig and 2 bits of puff.
Yes.
Then he opened a carpentry business. And then my parents had a carpentry business. And then when I moved here from California, I had my marketing firm. So it's like that area knows my family. And so they take pride in that they're getting it from somebody that has roots in that area.
Exactly.
And so Suga's it's still here. We just don't know what we're going to do. And I say we because it's just me,
Yeah.
my husband, but I don't know where it's going to go. And I'm obviously out of the closet now.
Yeah.
I'm doing these things where, so it's not as fun because it was like, I'm hiding it. But I love her. I love Süga. The name stems from back when I lived in Seattle.
Oh.
A group of friends back in the day. And it was probably one of the best times of my life. And that really kind of, reminded me of that. And I wanted that to go into it.
Yeah.
And, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's still here.
Still here.
The gummies are still amazing.
Yes, they are.
And, I was talking with LCM, like, I have all this nano. I have all this product. What do you want me to do with it? Because if I open my micro, I'm pending everything right now, permits and everything. I'm fortunate I have opposite problems of what most people do right now.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a
supply.
building,
Yeah, that too.
but I don't know what I want to do with it. Is it going to be Gigi? Is it going to be Süga? Am I going to do a co-pack like I did? Yeah. That was so much fun. That was so much fun. Like having a bunch of misfits all in one room.
Yeah.
I try to have everybody follow the rules because I had to deal with the clients because I was the CEO and part of the license player. So I was like, you have to stay in line. And it was like, oh, no, especially with Fuego. Love you, Fuego. But I mean, it was very hard to keep them in line, but it was great. So like, do I want to do that?
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun because in this industry, it gets boring and lonely.
It can.
And, having that kind of like co-working habitat.
Yeah.
But you also have to worry about compliance. So if you have somebody in there that's a washer, Are they, because if it comes back a ding, it's on your license type.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so if there's $100,000 fine, it's on your license type. If something happens and you lose your license, it's all you.
Okay.
So you got to be very selective. So I'm in the process of like juggling, but in the meantime, I'm doing my consulting.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to be asked to be on Soda Cans or advisory board yesterday.
We love Soda Can.
Yes.
Hi, Fatima.
Woman owned, yes, our brand right now, and that was really intriguing to me. I really like with legalization, people don't like the politics in it.
Mhm.
I love the politics in it.
I think it's fascinating.
So fascinating.
At least like Soda Can has made it so I'm like, whoa,
Right.
Especially with Will and
Will's
they're
amazing. I by far think Will's the best lobbyist we have in this state. Period. And he already knows, like, I've already a list of things outside of Cannabis that I want him to do, like when I have free time. But it's neat because we can be that bridge.
Yeah.
And I've been working with OCM, like just being that bridge right now, like explaining to them like what I've learned in other states and how this would affect this state. And having that front line, and Will and I are working together for 2 years anyways. So really bringing that together and having a group of great operators brainstorm.
Yeah.
And then being able to bridge that to OCM and what does that mean? And then, partnering with people like you and saying, okay, let's have these elaborate, one-on-ones or throw these parties to get everybody together so then we can grab the ideas and then bring it back to legislation.
Yeah.
And we're going to meet together and see what 2026 looks like. But that's kind of my goal. Like, session is starting. We've got a month and a half.
Yep.
And I have a laundry list. Testing. Delivery. There's some really hard things I don't think people realize they're still in statute.
Yeah.
That once they put products out, they're not going to be able to. Yeah. And the good thing is nobody's realized it, so we haven't had that yell, but they will soon. And so we got to get in there and start fixing these problems before the more bottlenecks that we have.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I know that was a lot that we threw at you and gabbed about, but if people want to find you or get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
Instagram, it's cat.gg_. I have a website, D7 at Catherine7, CATHERINESEVEN.com. And yeah.
Oh, thank you for being on here tonight.
Absolutely.
Today. I don't know what it is.
No, we're still last night at 1 a.m.
It's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
We don't know. You were at the
I
Moxie.
I appreciate it. And, everybody out there, keep doing what you're doing. It's going to be okay. It's going to be a wild ride. And we're here to help you however you can.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to hug you.
Yes.
Oh, and I hit the boom mic. Oopsie.